any better?
Yeah, it's better because it's not it's not shining off your face, but I think that's better actually, because you don't want it. They say you shouldn't have the light directly behind you, so just from what I read, yeah, that'll be fine. Whereabouts are you, Joe? You in the home office or?
Yeah, I'm in Stratford, so just kind of I'm starting here just to sort of just start the day really, and then I'll head into Birmingham. So Peter's here as well.
And what happened with David then? What, his boat got struck by lightning and he had to head back?
His boat got struck by lightning. It fried all the electrics, and then they had to basically just try and get the boat back to where they started from, wounded. And
how far in? I mean, was it like a long way, or?
I think it was quite a way out. Yeah, it made quite good progress, and then they just sort of turned around.
Yeah, he said to me it was 550 miles out.
That's a long way by anyone's standards. I mean,
some distance. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how long it takes to cover that distance in a sailboat, but I think it's probably quite a while, isn't it?
Yeah. So
Willie, I mean, he's been trying to do it. We'll just give it another minute or two, guys, and then we'll start. But I mean, he's been trying to do that for years, hasn't he? Will he have another crack at it, or?
I think it's the challenge. The problem is having the opportunity to, because there's only so many times that someone wants to move their boat from kind of the Europe to Antigua.
Yeah, and I suppose it's the weather window, and it's taking the time away from seeing clients and that sort of stuff as well. So
but we'll see.
Awesome. Okay.
We'll see.
One more minute, and we'll jump into it.
All right. So we'll just we'll let you direct us then, Callum.
For sure. That's absolutely fine. Yeah. We've been gaining, we've been doing more and more of these, and we've been getting some good traction, in all fairness. And you probably get about a 50% drop-off rate of people that say they will come, to people that actually come, but afterwards everyone likes to see the recording. So it's very positive and popular. But what do we got? Okay, yeah, we've got some people coming in now. So you guys all ready?
Good to go.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are. Today, we are speaking with Joe Billingham, the chairman and founder of Prosperity Property. They are Birmingham's largest homegrown property developer. Joe, how are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you, Callum?
Very well, thank you. And alongside myself and Joe, we've got our man on the ground, Oliver Thacker, one of the investment consultants with Prosperity, who's going to be giving us a tour of a unit in Birmingham and then going to another unit within Birmingham. So, Oliver, how are you?
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Callum. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Very, very well. Doing what we love, which is giving good information to clients. So what are we doing today, guys? I think everyone that's here attending has seen the flyers, and obviously you guys know what we're doing, but the plan is, 20, 30 minutes, 40 max, depending on the questions. We'll start by having a chat with Joe and looking at sort of the investment case for Birmingham itself. Why do we still think Birmingham is such a strong area, and why are you Birmingham's largest homegrown developer? Why do you believe in it so much? And then what we'll do to try and make that more real for people, because we're all overseas and it's very difficult when you're not back in the UK, is we'll cut to Ollie, who's going to give us a tour of a completed unit in Moseley Gardens. A tour will show us around. It's recently completed, so we can see the sort of spec and the style and the finish. And then from there, we're going to walk over to Parkview, which is another site which is just starting, I believe. And we're going to walk through the historic Highgate Park to get there. Whilst we're walking through the park, I don't know, how long does that walk take, guys? Do you know?
Kind of 5 to 7 minutes. I think that was one of the reasons. We're not on site yet, so we're just looking at sort of what will look like a barren piece of land. But you can see the views into the city, and I've got a short video of what the site will look like and feel like once it's built, so I can show you that sort of. So very much I thought just a good idea whilst we're finishing. We're not quite there yet on Moseley. You'll see some lots of high vis and workmen wandering around. So we're still very much active on site. So we've not handed it over to clients as yet. But this was typical of a development that was sold 2 years ago, 67 apartments in Digworth. So Parkview will be our next generation of sites. So we thought, whilst we've got Oliver on site, we could start at Mosley Street, have a quick look around the unit, and then wander across just to sort of see where it is in proximity, the new site at Parkview.
Yeah, awesome. And when we're walking through the site, we'll open up there's a chat box somewhere, guys, down the bottom for everyone that's listening. And a lot of clients, a lot of perhaps potential clients and people listening. So if you've got questions, just chuck them in there. And whilst we're doing the walkthrough, we'll answer the questions and we'll open up the floor a bit to a bit of a chat and engagement. So, right, let's just jump in, guys. Joe, shall we start with a bit of, a bit of info on Birmingham and look at these slides you put together to sort of paint the picture for why Mosley and Parkview and Southside, which is coming up, are good places to consider purchasing property?
Sure. So I'm Joe Billingham, Prosperity, and Birmingham born and bred, as you can probably tell.
Yeah.
And even more so today. Even more so today with a bit of a cold. I'm even more nasally, so apologies for that. So I mean, really, just Callum asked me just to put a few slides together, really just talking about sort of some of the key drivers for Birmingham, and really, they've not changed of late. This has been a master plan that's been rolling out now for sort of nearly 10 years. So and it started with the city's master plan for 5 key steps to bring the city very much into the 21st century, and the renaissance of Birmingham has really sort of been born from there. So it started off very much about driving jobs to the area. So we developed new rail connections, and then Grand Central Station was developed. We then worked on a network of metro system across the city to connect all the areas of the city. And then we've really sort of driven grade A office space. So Birmingham now is recognised as one of the key sort of back office areas of the country, and really sort of becoming one of the financial hubs. So we've recently picked up Goldman Sachs that have moved their HQ to Birmingham, and that was very much on the back of Deutsche Bank, HSBC, and numerous other sort of financial institutions, KPMG, for example. So they really was just sort of, bring the jobs first and then get those real fundamentals in place. So it's connectability right around the city as well as the wider UK, and it's bringing jobs. So our current portfolio, as I say, is a sort of Birmingham-based developer. It's a national portfolio, but with a focus of new build in the city. So 41 developments in under Prosperity Developments, and obviously just under 3,000 units delivered and handed over to clients. Now, as I say, across the country, but very much with the focus of new build in Birmingham city centre. So as I say, the key sort of drivers really, there was a big population boom happening in Birmingham already on the back of, we've got currently the highest retention rate of students in the UK. So students that come who study at one of our 5 universities stay long term, live and settle in the region. So that's been bringing population growth, and then alongside that, obviously the migration effect from the north down to Birmingham, and then the south up to Birmingham. So looking for better quality of life, higher standard of living, more affordable accommodation, and obviously with the job base there improving all the time. That's obviously been a big driver for the economy. And we've really, as I say, brought the office space. So there's a huge amount of grade A office space now fully let across the city. So and then that's really brought forward the infrastructure. So there's some key infrastructure plays. HS2, which we know about, been on the news recently. It's getting to Birmingham, obviously, but it's not getting any further. So it pretty much is now the connection between London and Birmingham. So yeah, I mean, sort of right or wrong, sort of the politics around that, and whether it should have reduced the gap from sort of north to south. But certainly from a Birmingham perspective, it's well on the map and well underway. So a lot of work going on at the station in Birmingham currently, and obviously that first stage is now guaranteed. The metro system, which crisscrosses across the city, so that's really connected up from the train station into the commercial district, then the shopping and retail district, and now is going out to the southern gateway of the city, which is the residential hub, which is Digbeth. And that forms part of the city's master plan, as I say, within Smithfield. And Smithfield really is just moving the city centre of Birmingham and what we sort of currently class as the city centre core south into the southern gateway, and that's very much based around Digbeth. Digbeth was a big opportunity because it was a brownfield site, and a huge one at that. It was old industrial, pretty much unloved. So we really had an opportunity in Birmingham to redesign the city, the centre of the city, which is unheard of, obviously, of the second city in the country.
Yeah.
To have that sort of vast amount of space to be able to totally redesign it, both from a connectability perspective, housing, retail, commercial, all within one place. We've got the Commonwealth next year, so we're well underway with that. So we've and around Digbeth is what we're hosting the ball sports. So again, that's one of the catalysts to move this area forward and obviously give it the momentum that it's got. I'll say some of the brands there, but I mean, just talking about our current developments, we've got Southside Residential. So this is really in the sort of Soho part of Birmingham. This is B5. I can show you a little map there of where it is. You can see that sort of where it sits in relation to all the sort of key businesses, amenities, and key locations in the city. Yep. This is 116 units. Very similar sort of, to what you'll see, and probably more so the Seven House rather than Moseley Street from a sort of design perspective, where it's located. And again, 116 apartments. These are 1, 2, and a couple of 3-bedroom apartments. Jakey Rise, which we're just currently closing the book on now. So this is a 226-unit apartment scheme, again in B1, so it's very sort of super prime. And that's really servicing the financial aspect. So this is in walking distance to the new Paradise commercial hub. The CGI's down there again. You can sort of see where that's located. Parkview. So this is where we are today, or at least we're walking across. So this is really Digbeth proper. It's in the Digbeth quarter, and the big news around this site is very much the film studios. So it's becoming a kind of a tech media sort of hub of the sort of creative region of the area of Birmingham. It's in a 5-minute walk from Stephen Knight's new studios. So, and if you're in and around Birmingham at the moment, you'll know that they're currently filming Mission Impossible 7. So,
it's been a few.
Tom Cruise is and his crew are sort of in different pockets of the city filming and whatnot. So, but yeah, I mean that's really we're looking to become one of the main media film production centres of the country. And Stephen Knight's 38-acre development there, which includes the BBC studios, is obviously going to be a key part of that. So again, sort of bringing more jobs, re-energising parts of the city. And these aren't just things that we're talking about, these are things that are happening. And I think that's one of the big differences with Birmingham. There's an article yesterday in the Telegraph, which I can send to you, Callum, and then we can just maybe circulate that if people are interested.
Sure. But
just talking about the fact that, Birmingham has got that momentum, whereas I think, in the past, we probably had sort of a couple of, stop-starts, subject to the cycles of the economy globally, but certainly at the moment, the momentum's there, and these things are happening, so everything's pretty much, sort of well underway. A couple of CGIs there, just sort of internals. It's one of the most connected parts of the city now, Digbeth, because again the metro system. So if you can see where this development sits, you're right opposite one of the oldest and largest parks in Birmingham. Thus the name Parkview, because you can actually see the park from the apartments.
Very original.
And it's a 4-minute walk to the connection to the metro. Which is a 9-minute connection point up to HS2, will then be a 17-minute connection into the rail station, into the airport.
Yep.
So a couple of pointers there, and that's pretty much it, really. I thought we'd sort of I've got a couple of videos which I think we can probably show maybe whilst Oliver's walking around, but I don't know if you want to just let Oliver sort of show us around a a bit at Mosley Street, if that's a bit more interesting, and then we can then talk a bit more about Park View.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. I think we need to, or I think perhaps if we show the videos first, because then we need to close this down, because then Ollie will become sort of bigger on our screen, because I think he's only quite small at the moment in the top right corner. And what do they call? You were talking about Tom Cruise there. He's got quite a interesting nickname, isn't he? Two Tika Tom, because he always
Tika Tom, because he keeps having he keeps wandering out from his from the Grand Hotel, which is absolutely beautiful hotels. And, you know, one of the we certainly needed some new 5-star hotels in Birmingham. So he's currently on one of the floors of the Grand, and he wanders down to the local Indian and orders his 2 tikas, and then heads back to his hotel. He's now known as 2 Tika Tom in Birmingham.
It's a good order, I've got to say. 2 tikas, can't go wrong with that.
So I've got a short video now. I'm not entirely sure whether the sound will work, but I'll run the video anyway. And this is Park View and what it will look like as and when built.
Sure. Okay, well, maybe we can give a running commentary if there's no sound. So internal CGIs, more the same. And so how far, Joe, will it be to the sort of the new studios that are being built here? I mean, what sort of, are you catering to? There was a question came in then as we were talking, you know, asking about the sort of rental market that you're catering to here. You know, is this very much for the staff of the nearby film studios and the sort of tech hub that's developing in Digbeth, or is it, the question was centered around different faiths and religions, I think, you know, so what is the sort of the target market that we're going for with this development in terms of, you know, your typical tenant?
Yeah, kind of profile. I mean, certainly we as a developer are very keen on an element of owner occupiers. So I think we are, and obviously we work with you working with investors, you know, and that's very much sort of, you know, we're positioned in the market for investment property. But what comes with that is you know, we do need an element of owner occupiers. I'm very pro having you know, as many owner occupiers in developments. I think it gives a different feel to developments. You know, we like to sort of allocate at least 25% to 30% of owner occupiers, which I think is important. You know, we don't want all of these units rented, you know, to sort of, you know, just to tenants, and it'd be a purely investor-led block. But the local market from an owner occupier perspective, sort of, you know, very much, you know, it sounds a bit cliche, but a young professional couple, and they may well be more, as I say, media tech kind of, you know, they probably come to work in jeans and t-shirts rather than, you know, shirts and ties. But, you know, it's very much that kind of, you know, sort of tech and media-esque type profile, working professional. You know, that's really sort of, you know, where we're driving this particular development. And I think that, you know, and then the tenant will follow suit, really. You know, I think when we touched on B1 earlier, and that kind of JQR JQR and the B1 postcode, you know, that's really servicing, you know, the sort of the financial district, because it's in walking distance, so you can see HSBC, for example, from sort of, you know, outside the front door. So this is a slightly different profile, but, you know, like all, I mean, Birmingham's not a big place, you know, so it's, you know, as much as we've got pockets as London, for example, but if you're in Soho, you know, in the sort of, you know, the more creative area of London, then certainly, you know, you'll get suits living there as well. So, you know, it's all a big mix, really. But I suppose if you're asking about the profile, it's a working professional. You know, they're not cheap apartments. You know, it's a premium product. You know, certainly, you know, it's servicing that sort of the much in demand working professional couple, as I say. But in this area, it is probably more likely to be tech and media.
Yeah, and I think that's a good tenant market. You know, there's recent reports out from Zoopla looking at sort of the rental rises in various cities in the UK, and Birmingham is up there, I think, number 5, a 6.1% increase in rents this year, which is being amplified now by people moving or wanting to move back into the city as things open up, you know. So I think there is a strong rental market, right, for that sort of property that fits that young professional, as you say, that young couple, you know. So have we got another video, Joe, or shall we go to Moseley and have a little bit of a tour with
Yeah, well, I imagine it's pretty chilly where you are. It's pretty chilly here at the moment, Ollie, so I imagine it's pretty chilly there. So we'll let you have a wander around the site and head over to Parkview.
Do you know what? It's actually rather warm in this unit anyway. We're quite high up. We're quite high up. Obviously, hot air's rising. There's a lot of activity here, so it's not too bad, to be honest with you. It was colder when I was waiting to get in, but we're all good now. Right. So I am on the 5th floor of Moseley Gardens. I'm in one of the units here, which the guys have kindly let me in. So I'll try and do a little tour as best as I can with the with the stick that I have my phone.
So yeah. what sort of
down here you have.
Sorry, is it a 1-bed or a 2-bed? What sort of unit are we looking at?
Sorry, yeah, it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. So 2-bedroom with a master bathroom, and then an ensuite to the master bedroom as well.
Bro, thank you. Cool.
Well, I think it's probably just worth saying as well.
Go on.
Sorry to interrupt you, Callum. I was just going to say that obviously, you know, apartments look quite barren without any furniture in. So this is very much sort of as just, you know, sort of pre-handover, but certainly you know, without any blinds and sort of fittings in. You know, they do look a bit barren, but other than that, I'll carry on.
Yeah, and all of that will be, will be there. And I think it's worth pointing out that it's still being handed over this site. And the idea behind, we did one of these sort of unit tours, I think 2 or 3 months ago. And the idea behind this is, right, that most of our clients are overseas and they don't have the benefit of being able to see and look and feel and touch it. So, you know, speaking to you, Joe, and speaking to you, Ollie, we actually get to see what it's all about. And I think it gives people a bit more comfort, you know, being over here in a different country. So it may look bare, but it's so much better than, you know, just seeing something on paper. So I think it's great.
Yeah, and I think that's why, you know, I was keen to get Ollie out, you know, sort of, you know, show the apartment. I think sometimes, you know, it's great. I mean, off-plan, obviously, you know, we're a big advocate for off-plan acquisitions and sort of how they work financially. But I think from a confidence perspective, it's always great to be able to sort of show the product in whatever form it's currently in, you know, coming out of the ground. Sort of is the difference between something that's physical and something that looks nice in a glossy brochure.
Exactly, and again, it'd be nice to see the different stages when we see Parkview as well. But guys, we've got, if we're sticking to our 30 minutes, we've got 8 minutes and the walk is 7 minutes. So let's look around and have a look.
Go, Ollie, go.
So yeah, we've got built-in appliances, the fridge, freezer, got oven, hob, extractor, the sink, all brand new with the instructions ready for their new owners. Behind me, got some nice views out of the windows looking out over Birmingham. I'm back into the main hallway now with the door out to the hall. Bedroom 2, again, nice bright windows. There.
Yeah, nice view.
Into the master. Down there, again, nice views. And then round into the ensuite. Ensuite with shower, cubicle, sink, toilet, and towel rail.
And this is all standard fixtures and fittings, guys, for people that are perhaps new to Prosperity. There's, you know, it's not like you're going to get maybe a lower end and this, we're showing you the best one. This is a standard finish across.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Precisely, yeah. And even like shaving sockets, which I think are very essential at the moment, but they seem to get forgotten about. Just things like that are just small details I think are really thought of well. So bath and overhead shower in the main bathroom, obviously the family bathroom if there's children, etc. And then, yeah, again, toilet and basin and towel rail.
Bro, thank you.
Then, let me just get this out of the way. So cupboard there, airing cupboard with washing machine and dryer in. So that's just a bit of extras. All right, now I'm going to go through site, downstairs, and then over to Parkview. So
awesome. Okay. Well, guys, we've got everyone that's listening from all around the world. This is your chance to, you know, as I say, we've got a mixture of clients and non-clients and people sort of finding out about Prosperity for the first time. So if you've got any questions, please just chuck them in the box below. We've got a chat or a Q&A section. Just put them in there, and what we'll do is as we're walking through the park, we'll answer those. It is worth having a look at the walk through the park, two-park view, because it is absolutely stunning. I didn't realise quite how nice it was. It looks akin to a park in London, Joe, don't you think? Highgate Park.
Yeah, it is lovely. I mean, it's sometimes difficult to sort of to see how nice it is actually when you're kind of doing this, and it is difficult because, you know, I mean, obviously Ollie's ultimately got his iPhone and a selfie stick, so we can only kind of see so much. But yeah, I think it's just, as I say, I think it's good to be on the ground. I've got another short video of another completed development which I can show if that's of any interest. Yeah, let's. Or if we've got any questions that have come in, Callum.
Well, let's do the video. Can we show the video now whilst Ollie's perhaps just walking, you know, getting out of Moseley, and we'll have a little look at that.
Okay.
And which is this? Is this 7 or?
So this is 7 House. So alongside, we started Moseley Gardens and 7 House, just in the foyer there. The 7 House was opposite the mailbox, which is a slightly different location in the city. Again, that's a development that we're just in the process of handing over to clients currently.
Yeah.
You'll see there we've still got the facade to finish, and there's a lot of the road works to finish at the front of the building. Okay, so I'll just let me see what
that's if you can see, that's the outside of the building. So yeah, very much still work in progress. A lot happening on site. Just made my way through, down and out. Obviously the lifts aren't in action yet, so it's keeping me fit and healthy.
Getting their steps in. You know, I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and they say you should get 10,000 steps in before breakfast. So hopefully we've helped you get there.
Yeah, I think so, almost.
Okay, well, Ollie, we're just going to show a quick video, a 1-minute video of 7, and then we'll come back to you and we'll do our questions and that sort of stuff. So over to you, Joe.
Okay, so this is 7 House, 11-storey building with just 30 apartments, and this is opposite the mailbox in Birmingham. So again, there's only so many times you can say development's prime, but if you know Birmingham and if you look on the map, you'll see the mailbox, and that's pretty much houses. Yeah, so that house is sort of Selfridges and sort of all the top sort of retailers in the city. So we are directly opposite, so we're the opposite side of the road. So as you can see here. Again, I'm not sure whether you'll get any sound here, so doesn't seem like it. So I'll just give you a bit of a...
I think it might be on mute, Joe, bottom left.
Yeah, I put it. Did you hear sound on the Park View video?
Yeah, there was a bit halfway through started coming through, I think, but I was or maybe I've just made that up. Sound? No, nothing. Yeah, I can hear it this side, but you can't hear it your side, so I'll just mute it back. So there, you can see that there. So again, sort of, you know, similar fit out. I mean, these there's always design cues slightly different in different buildings. And this generation, for example, where we were kind of using that sort of metro tile and certain fittings, that kind of continues to evolve with you know, with design. So the kitchens at the moment and a lot of the fittings are kind of going a lot more sort of grey, through a grey palette. Yeah. The tiles, current sort of fashion is determining sort of larger tiles and sort of. I think Ollie's in the park now. Yeah, let's check it out.
There we go.
So yeah, nice leafy autumn day in Birmingham. Just in the park. So it took me literally the time you played that video. So I think that's what, 1 minute.
Yeah.
So yeah, something like that. So I'm going to head over now, just walking through the park over to Park View.
Great, and I think, guys, we'll start putting your questions, please, down below. Joe, I've got a few questions lined up as well. You know, just to keep you on your toes.
I've got a question here, Callum. Do you want me to start off? Because I've got the chat live on my end. Is this the start? Have you got it your end?
I've got it as well. So no, let's go through it there. I mean, we answered it sort of loosely, but I think, you know, you're based in Birmingham, you have a better idea of this sort of thing than me. So by all means, fire away.
Okay, so well, the question is from an investor in the UAE, and he's talking about the fact that obviously different religions have, different requirements, and I think that's twofold. He's not mentioned it here, or she's not mentioned it here, but it's twofold that we accommodate. So certainly, so things like bidets and obviously, sort of washing facilities of sort of taps and whatnot. Those can certainly be installed. So there's a standard spec list, and then we do have an optional spec list where we can obviously fit out those units. And I think certainly from a commercial perspective, it doesn't go into every unit, just purely because obviously it's a relatively narrow market. But certainly it's something that we can accommodate. So yes is the answer to the question. We can certainly accommodate that. But I think that one of the key factors that we do accommodate, and possibly are asked more so than maybe a spec question, is how we fund developments. So we work very closely with three key lenders that offer Sharia compliant mortgages where there is no interest payable. So you can obviously purchase the property utilising one of our payment plans, where again there is no interest applicable or payable when you're paying your deposit, and then obviously to fund the purchase at completion, we do have Sharia compliant funding in place. So it's a yes on both counts from that. So
yeah, sure. I think that's a good question. I mean, as you say, given the sort of multicultural population of Birmingham, but I think with this specific site and development, it's more about you're targeting that sort of, as you say, your jeans and t-shirt, tech, Mark Zuckerberg-y film studio type person. And I don't know whether they're relocating into Birmingham or whether they're from Birmingham. But yeah, it's a
mix.
It's a mix.
I mean, just as an employer in the city ourselves, we've now got 20+% of our team are kind of sort of ex-London, where they've migrated to Birmingham to work in Birmingham. So they've moved with their either other half or complete family with children and relocated to Birmingham. So we are a good example of a kind of an employer in the city that are actively employing people that are actually migrating. So it's not just a stat, it's something that is happening. So I think Ollie's on site now, so we'll not a lot to see, but I think again it's just sometimes, I mean, and again it's quite interesting. I mean, it's the sort of thing I find interesting, but obviously that's what I do. This is where we start life as a site. So Ollie can show you sort of what is just currently a big piece of land in the city.
Just a big piece of land in the city currently. So we are, there you go. That's the start into the site. Unfortunately, this gate is locked at the moment, which I don't seem to have the key for. But yes, you can see the starts of the site. We come around, you can see sites down into the city centre down here. Let's get out the traffic. So you can see the skyline there, which is what the apartments will look over. So these apartments will have fantastic views looking straight over to the city centre. Sure. Easy access to the new tram links, which Joe's mentioned. Obviously a short walk away from Moseley Gardens and the park there. For following on to what Joe was saying, and then new Peaky Blinders season's out early next year, early January. So all the film studios and stuff will be set here, which will be massive for the city. I think they were filming it just outside of the city centre, and that's bringing a lot of interest. And I think those series have helped the likes of Tom Cruise, etc., coming along. I think that's helped to put Birmingham on the map as well as everything else that's happening here. So yeah, there's a wealth happening.
I think that's great. I mean, you say, you joked about you finding it interesting. I mean, I think it is really interesting because what we're showing is, it's the same developer, so you know what the sort of quality and the finish is going to be, and we're showing a completed or near completed site and showing the evolution. This is how it started, and you've got another site, Southside Residence, which is in its infancy, like Parkview. So I suppose we're just, as we say, showing, make it a bit more real for people. So I think it is very interesting as well. But again, I work in property, so I would probably say that.
But you've got your, I mean, Parkview is just, as you know, it's the next generation. So, you know, it's just the, you know, Parkview and Southside, that's our next focus now for, you know, delivery over the next couple of years. So we're live on site, currently at JQR, and we're due to be live on site, piling for Darwin by the end of the year, and then we'll mobilise the site proper in January. So it's very much, I think, so at least through today, you've been able to see, you know, a raw site, and then something that's due to be handed over that Oliver's shown us around, and then obviously off the video with Seven House, something that's just recently completed. So the kind of the full suite of developments. The only other things we could do really is show you around developments where we're kind of half out in the ground, which obviously happy to do, but obviously we have limited time today.
Maybe next time. I suppose the only thing I would like to just questions wise is, you know, you mentioned some of the other Birmingham sites. They're just going off piste a little bit because we, you know, we do like to send it out to clients, and we do have existing clients listening that have bought in other areas, not just Birmingham. Could you give us just a brief sort of, you know, just a couple of sentences on what's going on with some of your other sites, namely, if there's been any sort of major updates with Broad Oaks, you know, Market Court, those sorts of places?
Yeah, sure. So we've got Market Court, which is now build complete. We're currently working through completion. So we did our first 4 completions this week, and there's 60 units in that development. So very, very strong rental demand there. So we've now got, at the last count, we've got 30 odd people on a waiting list for units there. So as we're complete, and we're tenanting them. So the Market Courts are very much well underway now. Completion, well, completed physically, warranted. So we're now working through completions. We've got Broad Oaks, which is our 300 unit residential homes development down in Norfolk. We are starting groundworks on the island and infrastructure again in Q1. So very much on target there. We're currently sorting out a couple of, it's the usual routine with local councils, I should imagine. There's some reserve matters that we need to clear before we can start on the actual development of the site proper. We can start on the infrastructure, but we can't start on the actual development. But we're expecting that to the permits to come through for that in January, for the January the 11th, I think is the revised committee day. And that's very much just things like the you know, the facades of the houses and some of the detailing, some of the drainage. You know, it's all the sort of usual sort of stuff really. We're just working through that. JQR, as we spoke about, that one we're now underway with that. So the piling mat's now underway on that big scheme, right in the centre of the city. 226 units, 24-storey tower. And a lot of that has been done off-site because we're using off-site modular construction for that. So although you can't see much on the site, the factory there where we're storing everything is they're all flat out there, ready to start bringing the first panels to site in April. What else have we got? We've just handed over Cathedral House. So, that's turned out really well. Bit of a lost leader, that one. It was a listed buildings and never particularly easy. So we're out of that now. And handovers.
Sorry, Joe. What about Hive and Holm or Hive?
Holm, we are still working through that from a detailed design perspective before we can then go out to tender for the construction. And the other one, the Hive, we're very much underway on that. So we're actually probably about 6 months ahead of schedule as it stands at the moment, because we were waiting for a planning permission, which we didn't get in time. So we had to deploy then over to the Hive. So that's been flooded with activity. So we've been keeping busy. So we're probably well ahead of ourselves at the Hive now. So that one will be coming down the tracks a bit earlier. So we're now at boarding and skimming to the second level, so which is again well ahead of program. So yeah, lovely little site.
Great. It is another fantastic site. I mentioned that Zoopla report earlier, and Nottingham is one of the locations higher than Birmingham. I think it's at 6.4, 6.5 increase in rental demand or rental growth this year. So it is another very strong location. Awesome. I think, guys, you know, I think we'll just leave it there. I mean, I've got some more questions, but I always have, and you know, you guys, it's the start of your day there, and I suppose you've got to get to it and, you know, do what you do best, which is build great properties for people. Yeah, I mean, is there any closing comments from you, Joe, from you, Ollie? Anything you'd like to add? Or
thanks for joining us. Obviously, I hope you found it interesting, useful. I say that, you know, kind of open to coming back on these type of forums, and you know, sort of Q&As are always good. You know, sort of if we can get a bit of engagement where, you know, if clients have got questions, and obviously if there's any existing clients, you know, that hopefully you're being updated by your consultant and through our marketing and operation team that obviously send out our monthly updates and quarterly development updates. So hopefully you're up to date on your development. But obviously, if you have any questions or queries, you know, please do get in touch.
Yeah, thank you. I would say, you know, there's not many other people that have this sort of access overseas anyway, that are giving their clients or potential clients this sort of access to developers in the UK. So I really appreciate that, guys. Thank you very much. And I do think people find it very useful. Again, just to give you an idea, guys, of what we'll do now is, I've seen a question just come in. Sorry, I've joined late. Another meeting overran. They always do. Don't worry about it. You're not the only one. Please send the recording and I'll watch it from the beginning. No dramas. That's what we'll do. We'll get this uploaded now to our YouTube. Please like and subscribe. We'll get it uploaded to our YouTube, and then we'll send it out first thing in the morning with some supporting docs. If you have any more questions you'd like to ask us or Joe and the team, come back to us. We can get it arranged and we'll make sure you've had your questions answered. But yeah, thanks to everyone that's tuned in, and Ollie and Joe, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Take it easy.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.